Hi, my name is Nick Caruso. I'm going to be doing a follow-on training to using knowledge package files. So knowledge package files are really great to split up workflows and to do unit testing, but they're also really great from a load balancing, multi-threaded perspective. I'm going to open up AutoStore here just for a second. When you run AutoStore out of the box, AutoStore does have the capabilities to run multi-threaded. So as I'm doing this and I'm building a workflow, it is as I said, AutoStore is multi-threaded, but this workflow right here is single-threaded, which means it will process one job at a time. So imagine this was a MFP capture component, and then you had 100 MFPs submitting jobs. Once it gets into the AutoStore queue, it's still going to process one at a time. So if you went through my AutoStore knowledge package files training, I showed you how you can split up your capture stage from your process and route. In fact, you can have duplicate process and route configurations, which then makes it multi-threaded. Let's go more into a PowerPoint more on that topic. Why multi-threaded? So allows multiple documents to be processed simultaneously. Also provides advanced queuing, where you can start prioritizing workflows. And I'm going to be going over that in a second. But we can have jobs that say this job is more important than that job, so process this job first. That's very, very common, and I'll do a separate training session on that around prioritizing jobs of different file sizes. Multi-threading is really great from a scalability perspective. So what's great about AutoStore, you can start out with one device to thousands of devices. So using knowledge package files is really great. It's really great also using knowledge package files from an efficiency perspective, where from a testing and unit testing, as well as redundancy. So as I showed you before, a normal workflow, or when you first build a workflow in AutoStore, when you get trained on using a capture device, and then your process components, and then your route destination. And as documents go through, they go through this entire workflow until the next document gets picked up. So it's a single threaded process. So what we want to do is we want to break that up into using those knowledge package files, because right now it's a first in, first out type of workflow. So imagine that you're configuring something on a multifunction device, and then you're duplicating that workflow for Quick Capture Pro, or Quick Capture Desktop, or Auto Capture, or other multifunction devices, and it's the exact same workflow. So this is definitely an inefficient way of doing things. While maybe you start out really quick and it's initially less work, over time you're repeating a lot of things. Now just imagine in this workflow if you had to introduce another step in the process. So you have to introduce barcode processing or bait stamping. Now you're redoing your work 4 times, and it's certainly not efficient. So that's really where the power of using those knowledge package files comes in, where we can take our capture components, split off the workflows into knowledge package loader, and then when we need to make those changes, we can just make the changes in our process route task, not in our capture tasks. So here's an example where I've got a task here for my capture, a task here for just my OCR, and a task here for my route destination. So as the documents come in, they'll be converted to those knowledge package files. Those knowledge package files will be sent to a temporary share. Then they'll go to another task to be OCR'd, and then finally they'll go to the content management system, or the final destination of where they need to go. So we can repurpose this exact same workflow across different stages of that capture process. We can also start load balancing multiple process route components. The use of knowledge package files is a very, very strong value. So let me go into advanced training here of the previous training I did. So I had split up my capture, my process route. But what I want to do is I want to repeat this multiple times, so now I can process multiple documents at the same time. So I'm going to go in here and hit Save As. So I'm going to go ahead and save this now as maybe advanced. And what I want to do is I just want to repeat this workflow. Now I could click on Add here and redo my workflow again, but that could be really time consuming. So there's a trick where I can import pre-built templates that I've already built into an existing AutoStore config. And the way that you do that is you go here and you hit Save As, and I'm going to create a folder somewhere called Templates. And maybe one day I'll do more advanced training on this, but KPF template, and what I do is I change my name from a CFG to a CTF. And then what I can do is I can tell my APD directory here where to look for these templates. So I'm going to go back into my CFG folder, templates. So I tell it where my template directory is. And once I do that, when I click this down arrow, it'll show me all my templates in that folder. So I could have templates for maybe connecting into SharePoint or Documentum or OnBase or whatever. And when I click on this, the entire config that's part of that template will get reinserted into this configuration file. So as I do that, it just kind of I had these over again, so I can do add template. And I'm going to go ahead and delete those duplicate auto capture tasks. And I'm going to save this back as a CFG to my advanced training config. All right, so now I have duplicated these three templates, or these three tasks, I should say. And when I hit start here, so now let's go ahead and test this workflow. So I'm going to open up my two folders here. You can see my output. And you should see the first video because I've already pre-staged these knowledge package files in my backup directory. And if I move these into here, actually no, that's not correct. If I move these or copy these into this directory, you're going to see them start being picked up, and you can see 3 of them got picked up at the same time. So I went from a single threaded workflow to a 3 threads working all at the same time. And as each thread gets processed, it'll start outputting these files. One thing you need to just be aware of is there are some licensing constraints around this, so you should contact your NSI sales rep around multi-threaded licensing, and that's really specific to certain components, specifically the OCR component and the professional barcode component. Those require additional licenses to take advantage of multiple threads. But apart from that, everything else in AutoStore will work with multi-threaded just fine. What's really great about this is that you can have it watching. This again could be a network share. So you're watching a network share to process these jobs, and you can have this running on multiple different servers. I'm going to show you a real live example now of the use of knowledge package files. I'm going to do that with the use of the framework. If you're not familiar with the framework, you should definitely get your hands on it. It's a really great tool to deploy a complete AutoStore solution end to end. And so if I go in here and I want to pick a workflow, maybe scan to legal documents, I'm going to hit next, next, build. And when I run this, it's going to pre-build a complete AutoStore configuration. So I'm going to go ahead and launch AutoStore right now. And so AutoStore's come up, and you can see here that the solution framework heavily uses knowledge package files because it supports 5 different capture components: auto capture, Konica Minolta, Rico, web capture, and Xerox. And all of these, it's basically going from the capture component, knowledge package builder, and then sent to folder. There are a couple of extra components in here. There's workflow tracker to send to a statistical database, and some scripting to do some conditional logic as to which knowledge package file to send to. But for example, when documents need to be OCR'd in certain workflows, it'll go to this OCR folder, this knowledge package workflow here to OCR the documents. And this is the exact same task. I just have 2 of them in here. They're both watching the same directory of knowledge package files to provide a level of high availability and load balancing, so they can process 2 documents at the same time. Now, the solution framework provides an even more advanced capability of knowledge package files, because when they come in, they get OCR'd, and then they get repackaged as a knowledge package file and sent to another destination. We'll cover that in more advanced training, but you can start daisy chaining knowledge package files together. And the reason that we're using it this way, and I'm pulling up a diagram in here. In fact, that diagram is, if you use the solution framework, it's under this folder, NSI configurator, code files, process components, and here's that diagram. This diagram is used at the capture stages to determine which knowledge package file to send to. For example, the user at the panel of a multifunction device could select that they want to use a barcode cover sheet to scan a batch of documents in. So if that's the case, it goes to a barcode split workflow. And then if the user wanted to add a bait stamp, it would go from there, go to a bait stamp. And if the user wanted to read the barcode, add a bait stamp, and OCR the documents, you can see here it would go there. Or maybe it wouldn't. So maybe they don't want to OCR the documents, they don't want a bait stamp, but they do want to, they don't want to read a barcode, they don't want to add a bait stamp, but they want to OCR the document, so we'll go directly into this workflow. So there's, using knowledge package files is a very powerful tool. And the next training I'm going to be giving here is doing intelligent conditional workflows as to sending it to different knowledge package directories.